Bismillahirrohmanirrohim. Hello English language learners. In this lesson, we will explore the past perfect continuous or the past perfect progressive tense for Indonesian native speakers, suitable for beginners, presented by Bandung Linguophile Learner. Please watch this video until the end. Subscribe to my channel and kindly activate your notification bell to receive new lessons and stay up to date. Course outline: Lesson 1, Introduction. Lesson 2, Verb. Lesson 3, Three types of the sentences. Lesson 4, Contractions. 5, Closing. Lesson 1, Introduction. Learning Objectives Part 1. Number 1. Describe the past perfect progressive or continuous diagram. Number 2. Identify the sentence components. Number 3. Identify the parts of speech in the sentence. Number 4. Define the past perfect progressive or continuous tense. In the diagram of the past perfect continuous or past perfect progressive, time is typically categorized into three groups: the past, the present, and the future. In the diagram of the past perfect continuous or past perfect progressive, an event had been in progress in the past and was completed before another event in the past occurred. For example, I had been practicing English for 1 year before I went to America. Sentence components. A clause is a group of words that includes a subject and a verb. There are two main types of clauses: independent and dependent clause. An independent clause is a main clause that contains a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought, able to stand alone as a complete sentence. A dependent clause is a subordinate clause that contains a subject and a verb, but does not express a complete thought. It begins with a subordinate conjunction and relies on an independent clause to complete its meaning, unable to stand alone as a complete sentence. Subordinate conjunctions, for example, after, although, as, because, before, how, if, since, then, that, though, until, when, where, whether, while. For example, I had been practicing English for 1 year is the main clause. Before I went to America is the adverb clause. Can you identify the parts of speech in the sentence? I had been practicing English for 1 year before I went to America. I is the subject, had been is the helping verb, practicing is the main verb, English is the object. For is used to express the duration of the time. 1 year is the amount of time. Before is time clause or adverb clause. I is the subject, went is the verb, to is the preposition, America is the object. Definition. The past perfect progressive is an action that was in progress before another action occurred at a specific point in the past. Verb. Lesson 2. Learning objectives Part 2. Number 1. Two verbs. Number 2. How to form the subject with the helping verbs had plus been. Two verbs. Number 1. Helping verbs. For example, had been. Number 2. Main verb or MV. For example, present participle or base form plus ing or the verb 1 plus ing. How to form the subject with the helping verbs had plus been. For example, I had been, we had been, you had been, you had been, he had been, she had been, it had been, they had been. 3 types of the sentences. Learning objectives part 3. Number 1. The formula to make an affirmative sentence using the past perfect progressive. Number 2. The formula to make a negative sentence. Number 3. The formula to make an interrogative sentence. The formula to make an affirmative sentence using the past perfect progressive is subject plus had been plus base form plus ing. Indonesia had been importing 3 million tons of rice from Thailand and Vietnam. Number 2. I had been waiting for you for quite some time now. Number 3. I had been watching TV for 3 hours. The formula to make a negative sentence using the past perfect progressive. Subject plus had plus not plus been plus base form plus ing. For example, number 1. Indonesia had not been importing 3 million tons of rice from Thailand and Vietnam. Number 2. I had not been waiting for you for quite some time now. Number 3. I had not been watching TV for 3 hours. The formula to make an interrogative sentence using the past perfect progressive. Had plus subject plus been plus base form plus ing. Number 1. Had Indonesia been importing 3 million tons of rice from Thailand and Vietnam? Number 2. Had you been waiting for me? Number 3. Had you been watching TV for 3 hours? Lesson 4. Contractions. Contraction. We have 2 words and we want to combine the 2 words into 1 word, so we need an apostrophe. Contraction. I'd been, I hadn't been, we'd been, we hadn't been, you'd been, you hadn't been, you'd been, you hadn't been, he'd been, he hadn't been, she'd been, she hadn't been, they'd been, they hadn't been. You must not use the past perfect progressive with the non-stative verb. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel. See you next time. Bye.
This is seaweed, man. Really seaweed. What do you mean this? Wow, beautiful seaweed.
learner. This page is intentionally left blank.